Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at ko-online.com. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts. My guest today is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, started training in martial arts at age 16, currently holds a 4th degree black belt in Tae Kwon Do and a blue belt in JiuJitsu. He serves in the Alabama National Guard and has been part of building a rappelling charity to help and assist youth and teens in need, Tuscaloosa Youth For Christ. The way I found him is because he's a current competitor on one of my favorite TV shows, American Ninja Warrior. Please welcome my guest today, Mr. Devon Collins. How you doing today, sir?
Doing great. It's a pleasure, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for taking the time. I truly appreciate it. So what we like to do with all my guests, I want to go back to the beginning. I want to find out what led to that first interest. Where'd that first spark about martial arts come from for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my story is about as typical as any other kid that's interested in martial arts. They start watching, various TV shows, namely for me, back then you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
Yep.
I would always hack out those moves. And, there really wasn't any outlet from where I came from, which was a small town here in Alabama called Uniontown.
Mm-hmm.
And we had none of that around here. So
okay.
It was a bit of a challenge for me to grow upon that interest and to really,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always been so much of a passion to me. So
okay. So how old when you first had the interest to when you actually got to join a school? How long before that happened?
That started when at the age of 16. Okay. So summer of 15, when I moved over to Tuscaloosa,
okay,
I happened to find out it was in the newspapers and everything. Flyers and brochures started going out that, hey, there's a martial arts center literally 5 miles down the road from where I stayed at.
Nice.
Which was Tiger Rock Martial Arts Fieldcrest.
Okay.
And I took a class throughout the summer, and since then, when we had that orientation, it just clicked. I mean, I really felt that it just felt right being a part of that class. And
okay.
It was just, almost like a love at first sight type of thing.
Was there anything specific that you remember that really stood out that you're just like, wow, I have to keep doing this?
Just to be able to, kick and punch. It was really the big thing for me because, how to have somebody teach you how to do that, effectively and to, learn a discipline, that really is what stood out to me. And it was just like, wow, and to be able to, do that stuff. I would also watch the more senior students and how they would, carry themselves, or they would do different techniques, and that really inspired me.
Okay.
Namely, best friend of mine at the time was, always still is, but Carl Shorter. He was one of the ones I really looked up to, and just to have him there, serving as a role model, and at the same time having a friend to really train with, that really, shot my interest up.
Okay. What are some things that you remember about that first instructor that kind of stand out? Maybe, if obviously you've trained with a few different instructors over the years, what kind of stands out about that first one? Some things that you remember?
Absolutely. It's how they really bring about their personalities within teaching. Also that serves as a mantra for me to really, teach in a way that really keeps the kids engaged. And, they keep them, our goal with every class is to have our students smiling, sweating, and learning. Nice. So it's really about using our own personality to really bring out the best in that student, to say, hey, I see something in you. Let's see what we can do to really bring that out.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's rare. I mean, it's unfortunately there's not every instructor is great, but when you find a great one, it's you definitely want to hold on to them for sure.
Absolutely.
So at any point then, did you get involved into the competition side of things?
Yes. So as a matter of fact, my very first competition started at Yellow Belt.
Oh, okay.
It was a national tournament in Birmingham, Alabama at the BJCC. So a big conference center that everybody goes to for events and things.
Mm-hmm.
But that very first competition that ever happened, that really said something to me. It really combined, my passions of what I love, just to be able to, again, do what I normally do in martial arts at that high performing level, to be seeing everybody else do the same thing. And just to participate in different competitions, namely our forms at our rank. We had our traditional patterns that we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
So as combo work, who looks the best while doing that, while judging on essence principles throughout the martial art, and the agility course.
Okay.
The big thing that I saw where it was like tall obstacles for students to climb across, big hurdles, all of those things, and seeing someone do a flash kick, which is pretty much basically you do a backflip with a kick. I was just like, wow, where can I learn? Where can I learn how to do that? How can I develop stuff like that even further?
Okay. Wow. That's kind of, so now when you competed, then did you do forms? Did you do sparring? Did you do weapons? What did you all compete in?
So as a yellow belt, and you work your way up through the belt rank system.
Yep.
So how our belt rank system is laid out, you start at white belts, go to yellow belt, and then there's 3 levels of each belt color. So there's 3 of green, 3 of blue, 3 of brown, 3 of red. Then once you get to black belt, those levels it imitates similar to the color belt ranks.
Mm-hmm.
But now things get a little bit, more intensive, and, judges going to be looking for a lot more.
Right.
So at that rank, what I did was the traditional form, and then what we called at our time was our one-step sparring.
Okay.
So these are different. There's about 3 to 4 different strikes on a partner right in front of you, and who really has the better technique while doing those.
Okay.
So at Young Belt, we didn't really have that contact there, but it was to imitate that contact of similar to sparring.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I've never seen that I've actually, I've studied Tae Kwon Do too, but I've never actually seen that in a competition. That's kind of cool. That'd be kind of fun to see.
Absolutely.
So now with the school you were at, was it more on the traditional side, more on the sports side, or was it kind of even right down the middle?
So with our martial art, what we do is we cycle between 2 different cycles, namely our competition cycle and our tactical cycle. Okay. Which is where we're not really the sport taekwondo that you see in the Olympics per se. But what we do is, you still see some of those athletic types of kicks there, but we present it in a way that still sticks to more of, what's really tactical, going on our tactical cycle, which is really what we focus on real life self-defense.
Interesting. So which style of Taekwondo is it? Which Kwon is it under? Which organization is it under?
So it is under Tiger Rock Martial Arts.
Okay. We
have over 150 locations within the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And our roots can be directly traced to the Korean Rock Army.
Oh, okay.
Under Devon lead.
Very cool. So which traditional forms do you guys do?
We have our own pattern, which mainly of our martial art is the Hoan pattern.
Okay.
Which translates to Tiger Rock in Korean.
Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued. I've studied my style of Taekwondo since 1992, but I've also delved into other systems and stuff. It's the first time I've heard about your system really and heard much about it. So I'm very intrigued. I'll have to do a little more research and watch some videos and stuff. I always like learning about kind of the sister styles that are connected like that and everything, but it just sounds very cool. It's kind of fun. Now at any level, then you started competing at a yellow belt. At any level, did you start teaching? Was that something that you got into?
I started getting experience with teaching when I became a red belt.
Okay.
So this way you're getting close to becoming a black belt where you can, at a time when I was training at the red belt level, we were called assistant instructors during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we would help warm up the class, anything that needs to be done with the student, we can pull them aside, give them a little quick word to, reintegrate them into the class structure where the main instructor is actually teaching. And just to put out, whatever fires there are, the student has their, belt coming off while they're training, we pull them to the side, we fix the belt, and we, get them back in the class.
Okay.
So our job at that point was to really make the instructor's job a lot easier.
Nice. Okay. And did you enjoy that? Was that something some people, a lot of instructors, they just have everyone help, but not everyone kind of gets drawn to the teaching. Is that something you enjoyed and kept doing, or?
Absolutely. It was, that was really the wheels that started to get turned to where once I was starting working with smaller groups of people that really helped bring me out of my shell to really deliver my personality better to the students and, keep them engaged. And so, just to see the smiles on the students' faces, that really makes your day.
Nice. And then did you also keep competing throughout that time? Did you stick with that also?
I absolutely did.
Okay.
So with that, I started sparring at the rank of Green 1. And I really, again, with the sparring competition, that's where I, fell in love with it even further. Very first time I actually got into sparring, with any student, they have a little fear about, how the sparring actually play out.
Right.
Thus we do things in a controlled manner where, there's 6 inches of contact without an attempt to block. It gets considered a point. So I worked with one of the instructors that really helped build my confidence up with that. And it was really a phenomenal experience.
Okay. And you said that first tournament you did was a national one. Did you do a lot more national ones over the years?
Yes. So with we have 3 tournaments a year.
Okay.
What happens is that in November, we often have, or September, November, that time frame, we normally have our districts, which are our 3 local academies competing in one area. Then we move over to our nationals, which becomes a little bit more bigger, and we have more schools that are typically within the state. They all come together. And then our world tournaments, this is where, the event of the event that takes place. Essentially, all of the Tiger Rock schools within the nation are coming to converge in that one central location where everybody competes. There's different events such as, the weapons, team sparring, and it's really a blast.
So which is your favorite thing to compete in?
My favorite thing to compete in. I always love our extreme weapons competition. Namely, it's called XP, Extreme Performance. So this is where, you have the trickers come in, we're working with weapons. And I brought a style to myself where back then when we trained with 4 different weapons. So we have our swords, kamas, bow staff, and then the nunchucks.
Okay.
Everybody was used to training with one sword. When they would compete with one sword. So I started following this guy, Kalman Shoka, and I saw his style where he actually used double swords. So I felt that I was kind of the first one that really implemented that within Tiger Rock. And since then, since I competed with double swords, now I see at this day and age, everybody else likes to do that as well.
You're a trendsetter. Okay.
So, just to be a part of that, it really, I love helping the other students grow throughout the process.
Okay. So I was going to answer my next question, which is your favorite weapon to compete with? So I'm assuming the double swords?
Double swords, absolutely.
So is there any weapon then that you guys don't have that you've maybe seen, whether in other tournaments or movies, or that you'd love to learn that you guys don't currently train with?
Weapons I currently train with on the side for, just my own personal, or the rope dart. So another one of my favorite weapons. It's about a metal spike, typically blunted, to be used for, pressure point manipulation, pressure point strikes in close range. It's attached to a long rope. So you may have seen the, Chinese martial artists, they normally use that whenever they do, their patterns with their weapon.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that one I'm not super familiar with that one, but I'll have to check that out. And I know my go-to is always the bow staff and the nunchuck. Those are my 2 favorite. I'm opposite of you though. I'm not a fan of. I like watching competition. I don't like competing myself. It's just never been my thing. But I love watching other people do it. So much fun.
Absolutely. And I'll give another one. We also would have our team XP competitions. Now this is the hype of the hype when. Back when I was really competing with that, again, Carl Schroeder was like my best friend throughout this process.
Okay.
He still is today. But he and I literally would bring so much of the creativity to when we did Team XP, and this really exploded as well. So he and I, we always have a thing for, video games, Mortal Kombat, all of that stuff, Tekken, Street Fighter. And we literally would draw inspiration from those games, various anime as well. And we would put stuff like that within our forms. So this is where you really get creative with the Team XP. Nobody knows what form you're going to do. So it's really more of a collaborative effort. It's really a free design with your partner.
Interesting.
So at one point where we did our competition, we would be standing side by side, like on Dragon Ball Z, if you've seen that, where you have like Goten and Trunks, they do the little fusion dance. So we implemented that within our forum, and that drove everybody wild because they were catching references and like people were just seeing it everywhere. And it was just like, we want to like start doing stuff like that.
Nice. That's really cool. So do you have like videos of some of this stuff online? You can put links for people to check out?
Absolutely. I'll get a chance to post that one up.
Okay.
So in that, I would still have to find some more of the stuff.
Okay.
It's everywhere. I would really have to.
Send me a few links before the episode comes out, and I'll definitely post them so people can check that out. So it'd be cool. It's always fun to check out stuff like that. So then, how did you first become a fan of American Ninja Warrior, and how did it kind of lead to you competing finally?
Yeah. So this started when I got to first degree black belt. When I was in class, getting ready to start with the younger students at one point, I was just getting ready to do some warm-ups on a pull-up bar that just got recently installed at the time. And I just did a couple of pull-ups, and I was, just playing around with the bar. I tried getting my knees up, and when I did, I threw my knees up, but then my hands, I got to the point where my knees were touching the bar. My hands were completely up. I mean, I'm at this point just in the air about it.
Yep.
And I kept myself back down. I did a couple of them, and then I had a student get my attention. It's like, hey, that's one of the obstacles on American Ninja Warrior, the Salma ladder. So, I mean, I've always loved the show.
Okay.
Love watching, the competitors go through it. But then once that student said that, I felt that maybe it's time for me to actually see how far I could take that.
So then what led to that process? How long before that, from that time to when you actually got on, how much different type of training did you do over how long of a period of time?
Yeah. So what happened was I started to do more research. Where can I actually train to be an American Ninja Warrior? How can I get involved with the process? So I found out that every year, their casting opens up where people can submit your application to production along with a 2 to 3 minute video explaining about who you are, what are your challenges, what do you do, what kind of things you've overcome. So I started training we only have like one ninja gym in the state of Alabama, which is in Huntsville, in the Optical Academy.
Okay.
And so one day I asked my instructor, could I take off on a Wednesday or so to go over and, go train at the academy? So I did that, took off over there, got in, got registered, started meeting people. And little did I know, there were 2 ninjas that have been on the show, Megan Dillard and Lizzie Esquidin.
Oh, nice.
Started talking to them, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy.
Compare like the training for that to like your martial arts training. I mean, obviously it's completely different, but I mean, like what type of martial arts skills came in handy when you were training for this show?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just having the footwork of martial arts really helps things. And, kind of what I found out is that they really go hand in hand together. There's always a saying that, you can develop to be good at martial arts. You can pretty much learn anything else. It's really about applying principles of just basic movement to navigate through an obstacle. When I first started training in Ninja, when I was over there at Ninja Obstacle Academy, the manager there, Justin Andrew Moore, I would talk to this guy and he would have a science to each and any obstacle that you would do. He literally can break it down to a science of how you move your body to navigate through it. And once I heard his wisdom on that, it was just like, why don't I take what you said and apply that in martial arts? So that really helped. It helped open my mind so much more to what I could do on the martial arts side, to better help a student with a technique, to show them how can they move their body in a certain way that really clicks and they understand it as well.
Okay. And then was this the first year you actually submitted and tried to get in?
So I have, over the process of, I've been training in Ninja Warrior for currently 5 years.
Okay.
It took me 4 years to get on.
Okay.
Just applying at the end of every year, if you don't get the call, your call is that ticket to, they invite you on the show. You don't get the call, it's just, hey, you pick yourself up by the bootlaces and try again next year.
Okay.
So every year, I would apply, and I'll tell you this as well. This really helped click when I've been applying through the process. So the very first time I tried to apply, this was for season 10 of American Ninja Warrior. I literally had everything planned out throughout the casting website, put in all of my information, explained who I am and all of those things, submitted a 2 3 minute video. And when I went to sleep that night, I had this dream to where I found myself going across one of the cliffhangers on the show. I saw myself like looking at a long body of water in front of me, big flashing lights. It was nighttime, and there was this wall to the left of me with red cliffhangers all along it. Like the wall was inverted. There was some inversion on the walls there, and I found myself just climbing through the ops. I get halfway through it, and I look behind me, and I see my instructors all in the audience, kids, friends, family. They're all there in the audience cheering me on. So I make it through the obstacle, and then fast forward later, I found myself walking to a beach. And when I got there, it was sunset. I saw that people, like ninjas, were playing volleyball. There was a bonfire. Somebody was playing guitar, and this felt so real.
Okay.
I woke up and I was just like, please let me go back to sleep. Just feel this dream again. But here's the kicker to that. So season 10 of American Ninja Warrior, guess where they actually held the qualifier?
Don't remember, actually.
It was Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay. Nice.
So this is like, that said something to me.
Mm-hmm.
That dream said something to me. And ever since then, after, year after year, I will always hear this voice when I submit my application: don't stop, keep going, don't quit. What I would just always hear it, whether it's somebody in passing saying something or like, it's just one of those things where you just feel like, something's calling out to you to keep applying and going throughout the process. So then January 25th, 2022, I was just doing some computer work for my instructor, putting together a video for him. And I get a text message from one of the producers of American Ninja Warrior. He's like, hey, this is so-and-so from American Ninja Warrior. Are you available where I can give you a call for a quick second? So at this point, my eyes widen. I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is it. So I get on, I throw some clothes, I step outside, and I take the call. So then he was like, hey, is this Devon Collins? I was like, yes, sir, this is. I would like to inform you that for season 14 of American Ninja Warrior, you've gotten the call. We'd like to invite you on the show. And at this point, I'm just like over the top with this. Like, some neighbors were nearby, and I was like, I just shouted at the top of my lungs. And they were like, you're okay? Like, I just got the call to compete on American Ninja Warrior.
That's awesome. Talk about a dream come true. And that's
Absolutely.
Right. So now for some of the fans who don't understand, now I went to a taping a couple of years ago. I think it was 2017 or 2018. I went to a taping. Now, do they still film overnight, or have they changed that? So
this season, things did change. Now instead of having everything outside, they had it within. Where we competed was San Antonio, Texas, the Alamo Dome.
Yep. So
it was a controlled environment there where everything was set up, and it was, once I got there, it was just, wow, this is it.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So then, other than now, have you done any like the local or regional obstacle course type competitions, or were you pretty much just focused on getting on American Ninja Warrior?
So yes, absolutely. Throughout the process of me, even applying on, I would always, compete within different Ninja Warrior competitions within, neighboring states such as Georgia. That's where I had my very first Ninja Warrior. No, I take that back. It actually happened in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Okay.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee at 45 Fitness. This is my very first American Ninja Warrior competition that I've been a part of.
Okay.
And since then, I've been competing in Georgia's Ninja Quest, and also as well, namely the biggest ninja gym in the U.S. would be Ultimate Backyard Warrior in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Okay.
So this competition really turns into a huge community day for all the Ninja Warriors.
Right.
Cook, the owner of the place, he hosts, he brings out musicians, to have live music. There's good food. Everybody, everybody's out there supporting everybody.
Okay.
And so he normally does, raffles for cars. Like this guy is like he's an amazing person to, put all of this together. And really, when I look at American Ninja Warrior and how everybody supports everybody, Mike Cook is the prime example of that. It really shows that when you're there, and anybody can be a part of this as well. So
Right.
it's not just reserved for Ninja Warriors. It could be anybody who wants to be a part of it as well. They could go there, get experience with the process, and see how the community actually is.
And now your run on the one that actually aired on TV, you felt, was it Shattered Panes was the obstacle?
Yeah.
Okay. How many obstacles did you get through?
So there were a total of 6 obstacles within a qualifying course.
Okay.
The Shattered Panes was the second obstacle.
Okay.
And normally obstacles that get out of a lot of ninjas, we have this term that we call ninja killers.
Yep.
So the Shattered Panes, it happened to be one of them, as well as the Final Frontiers. You've seen that where there's like these like planetoid like rings where you have to take this T-bar and to be able to hop them across from planet to planet. But the Shattered Panes, it really was a new twist on things. And to have gone out on the obstacle, I was really relieved that, to really be there in the first place.
Oh yeah. I mean, just to get there. I mean, that's
Absolutely. And so, now looking at that, that just gives me another obstacle to accomplish next time, hopefully get the call to compete again.
yeah. And I'm looking at it. If I'm counting right, 10 people fell on that obstacle. So it's,
Yeah.
I remember that now. That definitely was a tougher one. It took down some big names too. So you're in good company there. So now that was going to be my next question. Now, since you got to compete this year, that's not automatic for next year. You got to apply again, and you got to hope they give you another call.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think typically those come a little bit easier.
Right.
But again, just as the big name ninjas, they all have to apply, resubmit the videos, and again, really, selling your story out there, telling about who you are and some fun qualities about you. And it's really about showing that to the audience and everybody.
Okay. That's cool. And I'll definitely be watching again next year and cheering, and hopefully you'll be on there. And who knows, maybe in a couple of years we'll have you back on the show as the American Ninja Warrior champion when you climb Mount Midoriyama. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
I wish this show would have been around when I was younger. I really do, because I probably would have attempted it, but I'm definitely too old and too many injuries at this point. But I shouldn't say that, because I see who was the one guy that competed like a week or two ago that was like 50 or 60 or something. So
it was actually, John Luby, he's one of the ninjas I always see over at UDW. Like, the guy is super awesome. Like, he had his 70th birthday. So
that's crazy.
He competes just like everyone else. So
that's inspirational.
Really, yeah, very.
So what is, from watching it over the years and also competing, what is one obstacle that you think would be really useful in a martial arts school as part of the workout for doing stuff? What's one, if you could pick one obstacle to put in a martial arts school you're training at, what do you think would be the best one?
That is a great question. Actually, is a great question. So what I would suggest would be, it's really something a little bit more upper body, namely a bar is, a basic, piece of equipment that you can use.
Yeah, my first thought was salmon ladder. I was just curious what other people thought. So
yeah, so I would say that would be one, something that imitates a salmon ladder. That would be a great obstacle to practice on. Since everybody's in, with martial arts, you really get so great with your balance and everything. But yes, I would say that would be accurate to have, a bar or something imitating that salmon ladder.
Okay, it'd be fun. I'm hoping we'll start seeing it. I know. See, I live in Moorhead, Minnesota, which is across the river from Fargo, North Dakota. And up until about 3 years ago, we had no ninja training gyms, no obstacle course gyms. I think right before COVID, we had a couple that started opening up. But
wow.
Yeah, I know. And it's, and I know we had one person who actually competed from North Dakota on the show a couple of years ago. But yeah, I thought that would have sparked the interest. And even when they filmed in Minnesota, when I went and watched the show, and I thought it would have sparked more interest and stuff. And there was one person right before COVID was talking about opening a big one, and I'm guessing COVID shut that down, unfortunately. But
right.
Yeah, it'd be, because I know my son at one point wanted to do it, and then of course there was no place to train, so he lost interest. So
No, I mean, COVID was a big hit to everybody. You know,
Yeah.
and we could normally go out and to be able to train at different ninja gyms. So, I mean, which I was really thankful. Around the time I started Ninja, I reached out to what I didn't actually know was that, hey, there was a Ninja Warrior training right in my hometown.
Oh, wow.
Tuscaloosa. It was KCC Hockey. They call him the Bama Ninja.
Okay.
So when I first started training, which was over there at Ninja Obstacle Academy, just as Agent Moore tells me, he's like, hey, there's actually a ninja in Tuscaloosa named Casey Hook's-Hockey. You might want to hit him up and see what you can do. And I was just like, wow, I never knew this. So I go on Facebook, I do some research, find the guy, and since then I hit it off with him. Like he and I just trained nonstop from sun up to sundown.
That's awesome.
I can the times where we were trained and to help develop the course that he put up in his backyard. It's actually I'm an electrician by trade, so found out a way to really help enhance his course was to install lights and other electrical systems onto it. So that really helped make things a lot better for his course, and it just really brought us together to train and have the camaraderie.
So a question then, when you got the call that said you're going to be on the show, you had about 2 months before they filmed it, 2 to 3 months. So during that time, did you pretty much focus solely on the ninja training, or were you still having your martial arts blended within that?
Well, yes. I mean, I will always train in martial arts.
Okay.
It is my career path.
Okay.
But yeah, supplement that with, just doing pull-up bars and, working on different calisthenics. I would normally go to we have our Planet Fitness over here. I would normally do some of that within the mornings, whenever I have the time to train, and be at Tiger Rock in the evenings to really work on, that gives me time to work on balance. And then on weekends, I would, get with Casey and we would train and review some obstacles that we would be expecting, and, what are some ways that we can do to understand the technique better and to go from there.
Yeah, sounds like you had it planned out pretty well. So question for you, let's say someone approaches you, they've never done martial arts in their life, and they want to get involved in martial arts, and they're asking you, hey, what should I look for in a school? What should I look for in an instructor? What tips would you give them?
Yeah, so I always, look for us, I mean, again, it's really our community that really brings everybody together and inspires you to, train even harder. That's kind of, that's what we do within Tiger Rock, is to really bring out the best in the student and to have that camaraderie there while you're training. So definitely look for a, tight-knit community with the martial art that you're trying to get into. Get to know people, and from there, build those relationships to have, various training partners to really help iron, the quote, iron sharpens iron, to really be able to have that person to help you along and go from there.
Nice. Good answer. So in all your years of martial arts, I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on MMA and the UFC, and are you a fan?
Yes, I definitely do enjoy watching it. With our martial art and how we do things, it's really not intended to put somebody in a ring.
Right.
How we, do go about training a student is really to help them use their minds to really understand, situational awareness. Going from school age students, you have bully awareness, defense, and to be able to know those skills applicable to their levels to really have, success with that, and help them build their own confidence with that as well.
Nice. All right. Who are some names that you would put on your personal Mount Rushmore of martial arts? Whether it's people you've actually trained with, someone you just look up to, maybe it's like someone like a Bruce Lee, a celebrity type person. Just who are, 2, 3, 4 names that you would put on the top of your list?
That's a great question. Well, one, my instructor, Michael Holt, he is really, helped me grow so much throughout the process whenever I moved over to talk about Northport. Mm-hmm. And, having him really help get me on my career path to martial arts in a, much better place, gave me a lot of instruction to have a successful mindset and approaching it. He will be one for sure. Okay. Again, Carl Shorter, best friend of martial arts. I always looked up to him, which he's actually gotten into MMA, which is really nice. Okay. He's located somewhere in California, so I'll be really looking forward to watching for him. But yeah, really those are my top two at the moment.
Okay, perfect. So is there one philosophy you've learned in all your years of martial arts training that just really comes to the top? It's one that's really important to you, keep coming back to it. It's one you make sure you teach your students when you're teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. My main thing I like to tell them is find out your why. Really find out what drives you, what motivates you to take the next step up, to really have that sense of strive within yourself to say, hey, I don't get this right. I'm just going to keep trying it again and again and again until I get this right. And to really have the students there, that really became my why. I want to have them, like we always say within our martial art, we want to have our students become better than us.
Oh, definitely.
So that really would be my main philosophy for, for really anybody. Find out your why.
Okay.
You find out your why. Everything else pretty much takes care of itself.
Good answer. All right, got a few fun questions to wrap it up. Do you have a favorite martial arts book?
Favorite martial arts book? I am really big into ninjutsu, so nice. I'm going to put this one out there. It's the Boston Shukai.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Favorite book of all time.
Nice.
And it really just talks about, ninja history and, some of the tools and techniques and, methods ninjas would employ when they would go on a mission or, to gather information or things like that. I always, so that's my top book.
Hey, that's a great answer. I like that. All right. Not sure if you were ever a gamer or not, but do you have a favorite martial arts video game?
Favorite martial arts video game. I am really big into Ninja Gaiden.
Okay.
Ninja Gaiden top one for me. Any really, Dynasty Warriors, Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
All of those are really, Tekken, Street Fighter. Really
nice.
Yes, those are my games.
Okay. How about a favorite martial arts TV show?
Favorite martial arts TV show. I am also big into anime. So,
okay.
The Naruto's. Favorite anime of all time for me would be Samurai Champloo. So
nice.
I really love that one.
Okay, good. How about a favorite martial arts movie?
Favorite martial arts movie. I really love the Ip Man series. So,
yes.
Really that portrays martial arts in such a great sense to, helping your community, building community, and, just serving everybody else.
Yeah, and Donnie Yen does such an amazing job in those movies. It's so good to watch.
Top favorite martial artist of all time.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right. And this final question, this one doesn't have to be a martial arts movie. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Just a favorite movie fight scene.
Favorite fight scene. I would always love the visuals of Demon Slayer. So that's a popular anime right now.
Okay.
So just, sword fighting techniques. And I always, I'm such a huge nerd for those things. Whenever I do my forms with my swords, I would incorporate that in some way. Also nice. With, I have those, the fire swords. So, hey, that kind of goes hand in hand.
Very cool. I like that. That's definitely into anime. That's cool. Some good answers. Some stuff that hasn't been said yet. So I like when we get new answers. So, all right. And then before I let you go, anything else you want to mention just to make sure we get out there? And like I said, I'll put links for all of your stuff, your website, your social media. Once we get the show out, I'll put all that out there. But anything else you want to mention before I let you go?
Absolutely. So to anybody else that's listening to this, if you're applying for American Ninja Warrior, my thing for you is, yes, it is going to be a long road. My advice to you, again, don't quit. Find out your why. Why do you want to be a part of this? And develop that. Have that strive. Get in touch with the ninjas. So I'm namely one of those as well. Feel free to contact me on Instagram or get with my, on my website at tkdninjacollins.com. And I really like to, help others find that in themselves as well.
That's great. And I remember that a couple of years back, there was I can't remember his name now. I should know it because I'm such a fan of the show, but there was a guy, I want to say he did like the walk on line, like 3 or 4 years in a row and never got picked. And then finally the one year they picked him and he made the finals. It's like he made stage 1. It's like, dang. So you just never know. I mean, don't give up. And if it's something you really want to do, keep going.
You really don't.
With martial arts too. I mean, just with anything, don't give up.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I want to stay in touch because if you run again next year, I'm going to be cheering for you for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, like I said, I'll keep track of your social media and stuff. And if you do go on again, I'll promote it on there and hopefully get more people to watch. But I love watching the show, and I loved your attitude on there, and that's the whole reason I reached out. I mean, I could tell you were a good guy. I mean, there's some guys, most of the guys on there are, but every now and then I've met some people who are kind of jerks and stuff, and I could tell right away you weren't. So that's a good thing. I just keep being who you are and keep this up and continued success. And if you ever get into any tournaments or any martial arts tournaments up in the Minnesota area, and let me know. I'll come cheer you on for sure. So
sweet, absolutely, yes.
All right. Well, I will let you go now. You have yourself a good evening, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.